This podcast has been brought to you by Sucks. Because this podcast sucks! Hello, everybody! I'm Tyler. I have the blog on thegamely.blogspot.com. And I'm mobbing with...
Jacob. I still don't have my channel ready.
He still doesn't have his channel ready, but it's in the works.
Yeah, it'll be up soon.
You're listening to episode, 79,000 or whatever, of On the Podcast, your weekly shitty podcast.
And you're on the podcast.
Let's get this thing started with the theme song. Welcome back. That was terrible.
I thought it was the end, so I was about to say see ya.
the podcast is ending before it even begins. See ya. Yep. That theme song, I gotta give a shout out every single episode until I forget, because I know there's gonna be one episode where I just forget. So while
he'll be so angry,
yeah, that'll be the one that Gabe listens to, and he's like, he didn't credit me at all. But yeah, so you like that theme song? Because we do. If you do, check out my homie. I'm white, I shouldn't have said that. But anyway, check out Gabe Vinyls on Twitter at Dungeon Studio NY, or on SoundCloud. HTTP soundcloud.com/Gabriel-Vinyls. Vinyls is spelled VINYLZ, and Gabriel is spelled GABRIEL. Or you can like them on Facebook, like everyone else does, because people spend all their time on Facebook. You got something on your nose.
Yeah.
Facebook.com/The Dungeon Studio. And that's pretty much it. We can move on to
I'm not kissing
our podcast. What are you doing? He's like eating his Tim Hortons cup.
I'm rolling up the rim to win.
It's very frustrating and very disorienting and distracting. How can I cut an award-winning podcast when I have to sit here and watch you doing this shit? Would you win? Hold on a second.
A donut. I want a donut.
You want a donut. I wish we had triumphant music. Damn it, I should have had like the Final Fantasy music queued up. Okay. So let's
Wait, was that 8 seconds? Because anything after 8 seconds,
that was definitely under 8 seconds.
Good.
So hi.
Hey.
How are you guys?
I'm doing good.
So this is our podcast. I don't even gotta say that.
If you're first timers,
if this is your first time, get out now.
We talk politics.
We talk shit.
We're major liberals.
What?
We
are?
I am Jacob.
I'm Tyler. But we don't need to say our names again, do we? I'm tired of saying Hi, I'm Alfonso.
They may be one of those people that just skips the intro. For some reason, they'd skip that awesome theme.
Yeah, why would you skip the intro? That's the only part that's remotely redeeming.
If you can tell from the title, we do talk about Harry Potter. We're a devoted Harry Potter podcast. Did you know Dumbledore dies?
We just
Wait, was that even the joke?
That's the joke. Yeah, we're a dedicated Harry Potter podcast. It's the only series of movies that we like.
I don't know. Have you ever... There's like a podcast I listened to one time that for like a good chunk of it, just to like screw with people, they like purposely pretended to be a completely different type. I think they're trying to be like a monster truck podcast for pretends. And like, there was a bunch of people that listened to it and they wrote back to like, I thought you were a gaming podcast. I hated it. What? And they're just like, they're outraged and like, did you not listen to the full thing? I'm like, we need to do that sometime.
We're technically a gaming podcast, but we spend most of our time just wasting your time.
Yeah. Let's see the memorable things we've talked about. Fanfics. We spent more time on that one podcast talking about fanfics than anything else.
Well, I mean, it was important.
I shamelessly...
Okay, you might as well get it out of your way. Advertise your channel that isn't even up yet.
www.youtube.com/menanclogs, capital M, capital C.
Okay, I gotta tell you guys something. Jacob is like 17, and he never talks professional in his life, but the way he advertises his channel, he sounds so professional. Menanclogs. M is capital C. He never.
I isn't though.
He never talks like that. But the I isn't capitalized.
Don't get that mixed up. I don't want to know what other things come up with Menanclogs.
Oh, I've seen the deepest, darkest abyss of clog fandom.
Someone asked one of my friends to search for some reason men in jeggings. He said he's kind of embarrassed to have it in his history.
I have lots of embarrassing things in my history that I'm not going to share to the internet.
That's okay. Anyways, we're a gaming channel. There's 3 of us. Really, let's be honest. There's only 1 of us because the other 2 will barely upload anything.
Damn, he's spitting fire at his own team.
But I have like 28 games lined up that will probably take over like 4 years to finish. I'll probably abandon some of them. Cough, cough, Skyrim, like 20 episodes in.
Well, Skyrim, that's pretty much, if you sit down and let's play Skyrim, that's pretty much a life's work right there. That's something that you're dedicating the rest of your life to. I wonder
if Hulk Hogan will be dead by the time I finish that game.
Hulkamania never dies.
That's the thing.
That's just, you can't. Hulk Hogan ain't gonna be dead because Hulk Hogan can't die.
How many freaking Elder Scrolls games will come out until Hulk Hogan is dead?
Well, don't they release like a new Elder Scrolls game like every 2-3 years?
Let's use a better one. How many?
Hulk Hogan's gonna live till he's at least 370.
How many books in the the Game of Thrones series will come out until Hulk Hogan is dead?
1. Because George R.R. Martin is gonna probably write 1 more, and then he's gonna croak.
And then some crazy fanfics. Who's the person that wrote Twilight? What's her name?
I don't give a shit.
Stephanie, she'll probably come in and like, I'm taking over the rights.
I feel bad for anybody that's like, I've always meant to get into like A Song of Ice and Fire. Like, I've always wanted to get into Martin's books. I just don't dedicate myself to series very often. But I feel bad for anybody who's into that series because you know he's gonna die before he finishes it. I'm not saying he's like unhealthy or dying right now.
Isn't he like a really fat, like bearded man?
Yeah.
That kind of looks like he's dying.
But I mean, the fact that he writes a new book every I don't know how many years. The show is gonna catch up to the book before he finishes it, and then they're gonna be like, "Well, now what do? We got to get a new season out." So I'm like, "Oh, don't worry, guys. I'm writing a new book."
Like, essentially, the ghost of him will come back and finish it. And there's that video I watched, What Will We Miss? I believe in my lifetime I will miss the ending. Because I think I'll die before George R. R. Martin does. What
am I going to miss? I'm going to miss the Chief from Russ. I'm going to miss him. But no, I don't.
You're gonna miss the conclusion of my gaming channel when it falls under. Once I'm gonna
miss Menanclogs because it ain't ever gonna happen, and I'm like 11 years older than you, so I'm gonna die before it even starts.
Like you're gonna die right when it hits its like trillionth view. There isn't even a channel yet that has that, but I will.
The trillion. What's the YouTube channel, or like who's the most popular YouTuber?
I don't know who the popular is, but it's broken up. I know in the UK, for singles, it's the Syndicate Project, but for group, it's the Ogscast.
See,
Remember that's a company with like 13 channels.
I'm not like up on my popular YouTubers because I mean, don't get me wrong, I love YouTube. When I want to find some video, it's usually there, but I don't really sit and watch. I don't subscribe to a lot of people. So I don't know what was that first one you said?
Syndicate Project. He's
What's
just
the Syndicate
he's just
project?
he started out casually a long time ago. I don't know what he started out with. He's big for breaking like I think the Black Ops Zombies record for highest round. Like I think in one of the levels he's surpassed like 150.
So it's a gaming channel?
Yeah. And like he's like I don't know if you ever you should watch him. Like it's crazy how many hours he's put into getting to round like 150. I don't know if you've ever watched me play Black Ops Zombies, but I mean I'm not the greatest. I can get somewhere in the 20s alone, or like with someone who at least is close to my level. But like that after about round 15, when like dogs just randomly start spawning everywhere, it takes like a good like 2 hours spent into getting to like what round 40. I can't imagine like round 150, because I think once he got to round 50 it was like a 50-minute video and he got like 5 rounds, and like I can't imagine. He must live alone, and he must have just dedicated like 24 hours to doing that. And yeah, how great it would feel like I'm at round 99 and you just die. And like, well,
I think once when one of my friends was home, we played Black Ops, and he apparently played a lot of Black Ops out where he was with his friends. So we played, and I think we only got to like 10 or 15 or something. Like I don't know what we even got to. And it's probably we probably died because of me, because I don't even really like Call of Duty that much. We were just kind of sitting there playing, so it was probably my fault.
Zombies
I'm no
is
good at COD.
well, it's skill based. You just have to know exactly what to do. Like, and I find we
had a strategy,
strategy and routine. Not just strategy, but routine. Like I have an exact routine I follow every time I play. It's go in, get to round like 7. No, get to round like 3, get Juggernog, which causes it so that it takes 5 hits to get you down. And right there, get a good gun, unless I have one. Because sometimes I'll survive to round 7 with the starter weapon, or the mystery box will be there. But once round 7 or 8 hits, Pack-a-Punch a gun, which if you don't know my favorite Pack-a-Punch, it's like the thing you put in the machine. It just, you put your gun in for 5,000, it just makes it really overpowered. Just eventually Pack-a-Punch enough and get like all the most perks you can get, and just follow an exact routine. And that's how I do with. I hate playing with people that don't know what they're doing. Like when I'm playing with a friend and they're just like, I'm gonna stand here and keep using the mystery box. I'm like, no, you're gonna get us down. Go get Juggernaut. But I want a good gun. No, you don't want a good gun yet. And it just screws up the routine.
Well, we just played in, what was it, like a mansion or whatever?
Yeah, Kino.
And we just like, I don't know, can't remember exactly what we did now, but we basically just ran, we teleported, we hucked grenades, and we just kept running around. Running around the mansion. It seemed to work for a while.
I used to play like, so when I started getting like good alone, starting like being able to Pack-a-Punch, I actually went on a binge of, I made a list and I Pack-a-Punched every gun. Like out of the like, what is it, like 30 or 40 guns, I've left 2 to Pack-a-Punch, 2 of like the super weapons. And now when I play like one game for about an hour. I'll get far by myself or with people, and once they screw up, or I'll always make the one mistake. Like I'll do perfect, and then I'll be like, well, the zombies are coming. I'll just jump off this ledge, and I'll almost get killed, and I'll get... Either the game will trap me in a corner, because I don't know if you've ever noticed, that game sometimes just likes to trap you in corners.
Nobody puts Tyler in the corner.
And then I screw up, and then it's like, well, I just spent an hour, and I do not feel like doing that again.
Yeah, I can't... I'm not the type of gamer who can sit and do, like, the same shit in that game over and over.
And it's like, I don't play the multiplayer because I don't have friends, and I just stopped being...
I don't have friends either, man.
Yo,
that's why I'm doing the podcast
that
with
play
you.
Black Ops, and I guess I have a few, but they're either PlayStation ones or they're not on when I want to, and I stopped enjoying it because the guns are like... There's only a few that I like. Some of them are just really... They nerfed some of them that were good, and I don't know, the game just feels kind of crappy when I play, but when I started up Modern Warfare 3, and it was the most exhilarating thing ever, because I'm like, people are like, so stupid with all the kill streaks. I'm like, no, it's actually kind of awesome, even though the team's doing it. When I have like I think in that game you have like 5 attack choppers that will just go back and forth, and I'm like, I'm being pinned down by enemy helicopters, but then one of my boys rolls in with an AC-130. He's like, nah, I ain't letting you do that. And he just destroys the battlefield, taking us all out with him, but...
On the podcast is now officially a Call of Duty Black Ops focus podcasts.
But I mean, yeah, like in a few days, expect them Sonics, them occasional Call of Duty and Halo. I plan to do like the campaigns of the Halo games because apparently I don't know anyone else that found them that exhilarating or interesting, but I do. I don't exactly want to do the multiplayer that much. I just feel like I'll just be too cocky about it since I'm so good at it. Not in Reach though.
Now you're just asking for people to call you out. And...
in Reach, I used to be like, I don't know if Reach still, if they decided to get rid of it. I forget if Reach had it, but I know Halo 3 had it. But Reach is equivalent to like MVPing a match. There was a time when I was getting like 25 to 30 kills a match in MVPing. But like every other shooter, I just stopped for a year and I went back and I'm like, it's either I just can't get into the feel or the players have completely changed because it's like I can't do anything.
Yeah.
And then I put Reach on the back burner and just walked away.
You walked away.
I cried a little, but I walked.
Out into the sunset.
I walked like Rambo did at the end of the last Rambo movie. with It's a Long Road playing. I cried.
Did you cry though, really?
Yeah.
Well,
yeah, that's what you expect from a channel.
That was
vlogs.
Cool story, bro.
You didn't talk much. I just felt like I was shamelessly advertising. And I feel bad about advertising many vlogs.
If I had something else I could advertise, I would.
Yeah, check out Game Vinyls.
Check out onthegamely.blogspot.com.
And that has been our podcast for this week.
Actually, I do want to shout out a pod. What is it? What do I? Yeah, blog. Miss Dallas Fraser has a blog.
And an angel if there ever was one.
It's a girl. It's obviously more girly. It's for like makeup and personal shit. And
my type of stuff.
And sometimes games, I think, because she is a gamer. But
does she talk about any TV shows?
Well, I think she wrote a review, but I haven't got a chance to read it yet today. I don't know what for. But her first post was like one of those this or that type of posts. Because she's such a girl. But anyway, her blog is... Oh, I'm going to fuck it up. I think it's peachypixel.blogspot.com.
Kind of like that name.
The P is in peachy is capitalized, but I don't think pixel is. But don't put pixels, because that goes to a different blog. Because I tried that.
The other thing that reminds...
wait, gotta clear it up. Peachypixel.blogspot. Blogspot.dog. Peachypixel.blogspot.com. There. So now that I shouted her out...
Do you want a blog you shouldn't go to? Oh.
Oh, man. We're about to make some...
No, it's actually a Tumblr.
Just don't go... The only time it's acceptable to go to Tumblr is when you want GIFs. Because I've noticed, like, while doing my weekly news...
Topless people.
Well, no. I've noticed while doing my weekly news roundup that whenever I type in, like Ryan Gosling GIF or something, there's always that Tumblr page that has a shit ton of GIFs.
When I used Tumblr, I think I followed a Batman one that actually had really cool, like, artwork of Batman. I followed a Notebook one that had cool, like, GIFs. But really, just, let's know, it was just really Ryan Gosling one. And, yeah, that's essentially what I followed. But no, I got a little one that people don't like, that I feel like you should go to it, because she's hypocritical. Go to pinkypony.tumblr.
You're always ranting and raving about this person, but I don't understand on your Facebook. Like, I don't understand what's going on. So
essentially, there was this blog called, like, Princess Molestia that had nothing to do with molestation. It just kind of fit with her name was Celestia.
I don't know.
And it had nothing to do with it. It was just, like, random, like, jokes. And it was, like, she was just, like, a perverted character. That's what the character was. And she had a companion that was a gamer. That was also taken down because, gamers are so offensive. But she kind of had this whole, let's take it down, because she was like that person that felt like anything that had any type of harmful joke needed to be taken down. Take into account she makes really mean jokes. But let's go on. She does this thing, but then on her Tumblr, when people start getting annoyed at her, she says she doesn't, but then, like, a few hours later, she decides, no, wait, I was actually just lying to you. I actually did. And I sent all these, like, I told like Hasbro, you must take it down now, and I made up this party to go do it, and then she started mocking everyone who liked the show and liked it, and then essentially she just started mocking everyone. She was blasting on all fronts, and then people blasted back, and she complained like, "Well, why would you guys say this to me?" And then she mocked them, and
you spent a lot of time on this person.
And I went. It's just like it's like a completely pink thing. It has like really like stereotypical teenage like I don't know, but teenage girl like type Tumblr look to it, and it always like gives me a chuckle when I go to it. But I don't go to it that much. I just sometimes when I do see it, I'm like I gotta have a little chuckle.
Have a little laugh and a half.
Yeah, and then she gets death threats, and I'm like, nah, I'm not into this. I leave. I go check out other sites.
Really? Like prawn.
Yeah. Quality prawn.
So what's been going on besides Men in Claws and looking at Pony whatever the fuck? I've already forgotten her name.
Well, I'm an admin of a Facebook page, so that's an important job. What have I been
Don't
doing?
let the power go to your head. It's so stupid. And Justin's probably gonna listen to this, so he'll probably be sitting here. Yep, Tyler's gonna be talking about forums now. But it's funny how such an insignificant position like admin on a forum goes to their heads.
Yep.
Like so bad. Like I have come across so many admins in my day that were just dicks. I mean, they weren't dicks. Like they were pretty nice at times, but you could tell they were a little corrupt, and the power has corrupted them. It's like you are an admin on a forum, and a lot of the time they weren't even big forums.
Another time I let it happen. It was purposely. I adminned a Minecraft server where I was like the co-owner, and so since the owner was never on, I decided that I wanted a few things to change. I forced anyone when they talked to me to make sure they called me the glorious stallion of freedom. And I made sure if they didn't, then they would like pay for it. But there were a few times that actually one of the people were like, tested me. I'm like, my friend doesn't want you to build here. Can you please move? He's like, you can't command me. I'm like, oh, that wasn't what you should say. So I think when he was out mining, I'm like, if you know what a creeper is. So like,
you know what a creeper is?
He isn't watching, so I get like about 30 of them behind him spawned, and I'm like, have fun. And they're all like blowing up the mine. I'm like, yep. So from there on, I'm like, I'm not even gonna tell someone when they break a rule. I just teleported to them, went invisible, waited till they didn't realize where I was, and just spawned creatures and let them kill them repeatedly.
Yeah.
And I kind of let the power go to my head, but at the same time, like people are disobeying me.
Dude, you've been corrupted already. Back in my prime, back in my teen years, I would have been the thorn in your side on the internet. Because I'm a tough guy on the internet, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Not in real life. In real life, I'm a nerdy nerd. But, I would have been a thorn in your side.
Yeah.
You would have had to have banned me.
I did ban some people.
You know, drop that hammer.
Oh, I dropped the hammer. But first I dropped some creepers. And dropped some TNT. I just did everything. I just screwed people over. I was tired of being lower class. I moved up to the oh glory. I even made them go like, call me oh glorious stallion of freedom. So someone would be like, Jacob, can you do this? And I'm like,
who's Jacob?
And I'd be like, who's that? And I'd ask someone else like, who are they talking to? And they're like, oh, and I wouldn't even tell someone new who came in. I would let them figure out by doing something wrong first, and then I would let them know. And that was awful. That should never be taken as serious. But back to what we were originally saying. What have I been doing?
Yeah, but now I don't know if I care. No, I'm just joking. I'm just playing. Go ahead.
Well, watching that. Oh wait, I better not say about wrestling because we'll probably get to that later. Watching that wrestling. Getting that Roxio set up, doing art, trying to perfect my art, doing homework, hate homework, writing about
doing homework, hating homework,
writing about assassinations in English. I don't really know what else I did. I went to to a certain place in our place, and I totally nerded out by spending $55 on Yu-Gi-Oh cards.
A certain place in our place.
I don't know if I should I don't know if I should say the location.
No, maybe we should.
It's a mall.
We wouldn't want anyone, any of the people listening, to come find us. Especially since probably most of the people listening know where we live. But anyway.
Yeah, nerded out and then got DQ.
Damn, that's a good finish. Sort of.
No,
I've never actually been real high on DQ's food. Love their ice cream cakes. But I think their food is among the upper echelon of fast food joints. DQ doesn't really register in my top
I don't
5.
like their burgers, but their $6 meal deals that give you like a small sundae is like the greatest thing. If you just like get the snack wrap meal and add another snack wrap, you're in heaven.
They used to I like their chicken strips and like their chicken strip basket and whatnot, but I liked when they used to put toast in it, just because like no other place would ever think about doing that.
I do.
But then they took away the toast, and now it doesn't matter to me.
I like when you go into Dairy Queen, in ours at least, there's this like pump thing that just says liquid peanut butter, and then I'm like, I kind of want to taste it. Because I
kind of just want it all in my mouth at all times.
I kind of want to get like a chicken wrap. I'm like, can you put a little of that liquid peanut butter in it? I'm curious.
So you've had a pretty eventful week.
Yeah, yet to have liquid peanut butter, but the rest is pretty good.
Liquid peanut butter. I wish we could get our podcast sponsored by liquid peanut butter.
You know, most people for romantic, they'll like put whipped cream on each other. I just want to like put like liquid peanut butter on something.
And if you can find a girl that wants you to do that, she'll be a keeper.
Yeah, especially since
or just a weirdo that you should get away from.
Especially since peanut butter is like a lasting scent.
Can you imagine?
All over your body, like you
just had the raunchiest sex, dude. Why do you smell like peanut butter? Exactly.
Liquid peanut butter.
So...
Yeah, how has your week been? What have you been doing?
What have I been doing?
What have you been doing?
What have I been doing?
I
don't know. And everybody listening just turned it off. So now we can just talk about anything. I hate all races besides white people. No,
yeah, I feel your brother.
But, no,
Wait.
Listen, if you get offended by what I just said, it was a joke.
What?
What? I wasn't talking to you, I was talking to them.
Right.
The imaginary people listening to the podcast.
the G.I. Joes on your desk.
Yeah. I don't have G.I. Joes on my desk, I'm an adult.
Oh, I mean my desk then.
What have I been doing? Well, let's see. Let's see what I've been doing.
Don't mind my pit stain.
Let me go back into my past, so let me time travel to see what I was doing. I don't know what I've even done. Let's see. I watched the Elimination Chamber. I think I watched... No, I didn't watch RoboCop this week. I watched it last week. And I watched the Lego Movie, finally, and I watched other stuff. The Americans is back on the air now, so I actually meant to watch that today, so I should probably do that after this. Mostly I've just been playing them games. I have such a pathetic life.
What games?
Like, I've gone at work when I, like, talk to the few people that I talk to. I like a lot of them. I just...
Wink, wink.
They're just, obviously you're going to have the people that you talk to the most. And I must come off as so boring to them because it's like, so what are you going to do tonight? Probably going to go home and play video games.
I got totally hammered. What did you do?
What are you going to do this weekend?
Played my Dreamcast.
What are you going to do this weekend? Well, actually, since it's a Saturday, there's going to be a UFC on. So I'm going to sit home by myself and watch.
In a room. With popcorn.
Maybe some pot.
Maybe some pot. I don't think that's legal in Canada.
No.
We ain't no Coloradan.
I don't mess around with pot. I just go right to meth.
Yeah. Hey, you gotta get that dangerous stuff out of you. You gotta get that meth. They do that in that Breaking Bad, don't they? Or was that cocaine?
What,
or
meth?
Yeah.
Yeah, Breaking Bad's meth. Meth.
Methamphetamine.
So, yeah, I haven't really been doing much. Still waiting on my new computer to come. Hopefully next week, but I'm not sure. So I guess this is a good transition into the classic on the Gamely / on the podcast question. Here it comes. You ready?
Yep.
Dun, 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 dun. What you playing? What you playing these days?
What have I been?
What you playing?
I haven't really been playing anything because I've been getting my Roxy set up. I don't remember the last time I played GTA 5.
You haven't been playing, so you can get the Roxy set up, so you can start playing.
Yep. You're
pre-playing.
I can tell you. Well, actually, since I already told them I bought Reach, I got Reach. But what else did I buy? I bought Dust and what is it? A Dust and Elysian or an Elysian?
Elysium True.
Yeah.
You know that's in was that in the Humble Bundle?
Huh?
Yeah, that's in the Humble Bundle 11.
Sweet, because it hasn't. Besides that, it hasn't gone on sale on Steam. It was still $15, and I'm like, yeah, in your face, PC gamers. I got it for like $2.
The Humble Bundle this time around is awesome, but yeah. Anyway, carry on. Carry on, my wayward son.
Technically, the only actual game I played, and I don't know why I picked it since it's a 1999 game, but I'm like, I need a quick game that will boot fast, so I boot up Sonic Adventure 2 to record, and only after I'm judging quality by a game that was made in 1999. It's not even HD at all.
Yeah, that's an old game.
No.
That's almost as old as you.
I know. A classic.
You're all about Sonic. So Sonic begins and ends on the Genesis with me.
That would have been Sonic the Hedgehog 1, 2,
3. Sonic and Knuckles.
I
don't know if
I think wasn't there.
I can't remember.
Mean Bean Machine.
I even used to play I think there was a Sonic pinball or something. I was.
And there was a Chaotix game if you knew who Team Chaotix was.
Yeah,
it's Charmy the Bee. What? Espeon the. What's his face?
I don't know. I used to be a pretty big Sonic fan back in my younger years. It never overtook Mario for me, but I had a Genesis and a Super Nintendo, so I played both. I even back then I was not part of the console war. I just liked games, and Sonics were good games.
If you would have had a Dreamcast back when I was born, or near then, you would have gone to that Sonic Adventure 1 and that Sonic Adventure 2. I think Sonic Adventure 2 being one of the highest rating Sonic games. Because it seems like no one gives it hate.
to people who don't know me, most of you. Or no, I guess it would be... No, I guess all of you would know me. Who am I, popular? But I actually bought a Dreamcast at the beginning of this year?
Yeah.
I think. And I meant to play it more, but then I got kind of caught up and new games actually started coming, and then I decided to buy a computer. So the Dreamcast, to this day, I bought 3 games. I've only played
Sonic
one.
Adventure 2.
I've only played one. I mean, I played other Dreamcast games way back in the day, but I never owned one. I had a friend that had one, and he let me borrow it. And I did play Crazy Taxi, Brave Fencer Musashi, or whatever. We played Power Stone 2 at his house. That was a great game. So I did play maybe a handful of Dreamcast games, but it was always this system that I never gave enough time. So this year I decided I'm going to go next gen, and I'm going to buy a Dreamcast.
I always tell you buy Sonic on it, but to be honest, I don't actually recommend it, because at least, I think with the Nintendo version, I think they updated a lot of it. There are some awful scenes, and now I understand why. And then they're not awful, it's a little dated right now, but at the same time, still amazing.
So, I'm yawning. Rough day. This podcasting thing is tough.
Quickly, I don't know if you would like the newer games, because the newer games took a more serious approach. Starting with Sonic Adventure, but they were Sonic Adventure 1 still had some classic sounding one of my friends hates it's just because the levels sound like old games where they're less serious. But I'm like, in the end, seriousness really hasn't been in Sonic until like Shadow. Like he's like he hates because it's called Twinkle Park. I'm like, it's Sonic. I'm like, I'm gonna give you names that sound stupid in Sonic. One of the levels is called Metal Harbor. Metal Harbor.
Metal Gear.
City Escape. There isn't anything like in depth, but I would think you would hate. I don't know because like Sega gets crapped on for. I don't know. I know you bought me Shadow.
It probably doesn't do that anymore, does it?
Yeah, the Sonic games still do that.
Does it still do that?
Yeah.
Sega. That's like classic.
But like you bought me Shadow, but I don't know if you've ever actually seen videos about it. And I don't even think you know anything about Shadow the Hedgehog. Like.
You call me dumb on my own podcast?
Kind of.
Alright.
But, like, it's a game where he, like, strolls around with, like, guns. People, like, it's a Sonic game. How dare you add, like, violence and like, swearing to it. And people, like, it's a spin-off with, like, a really mature character. Like, no, it's a Sonic game. I'm like, no, Sonic only in it when he dies. And, yeah, you get to kill Sonic in one of the endings. You did, like, pop him in the head. And then you get to pop Eggman in the head.
Damn.
And actually... This is like the last thing. Funny thing about Dr. Robotnik, right?
Yeah.
One of the songs on the CD, it's by an artist called Dr. Robotnik's.
Yeah.
I'm like, that's the greatest name.
No, I see your Dr. Robotnik's and I raise it Optimus Rhyme. Like the greatest nerdcore rap. I think they're a group. Maybe not. But Optimus Rhyme.
I think I need to have like the ultimate like clash. They need to go together. Dr. Robotnik's presents. Optimus.
Maybe they have. Is it rap?
No, it's just like
Instrumental?
yeah.
Instrumental hip hop beats?
I was gonna say that's basically what Sonic music is, but then I forgot. No, it's not.
I was gonna say that. Then I realized I'd be wrong. So let's get on to what I'm playing. Because I'm actually playing all kinds of shit this week.
You don't have a career ahead of you.
A career of playing games and making no money.
Let's be honest. It's really just playing like Sonic. That's all.
Yeah, I actually spend all my days playing Sonic. Let's see. What have I been playing? I've been chopping away at Bravely Default.
That game looks pretty good.
About 40 hours in. I wanted to have a review up on the blog by now because I like having reviews up as quick as possible, but it's been weeks. It's a long game. I mean, I can't...
The game is about millions and millions. I gotta stop using people's phrases.
Yeah, we're gonna get, like, sued.
Now the rocks are... Do you remember, like, the first episode? I told you the rock's gonna be on.
The rocks are homie. How do you even remember the first episode? I don't remember 5 minutes ago. I don't even know
about Sonic 5 minutes ago. How do you want me to bring back the conversation?
You're always talking about Sonic.
No.
If I don't remember anything, I'm just going to assume that we were talking about Sonic.
I mean, I could always bring up Halo, Ratchet and Clank, my almost no knowledge of Assassin's Creed. I know there's an assassin and he beats people up.
Well, that's putting it lightly. He assassinates people. But anyway.
Yeah, sometimes he just slaps them a little.
So anyway, shut up.
Yo, you're hijacking my podcast now. This is Jacob with the clogged pod.
Damn.
Yeah, I'm invading. I'm like the NWO.
I guess I'm just along for the ride. You're with the NWO.
Yeah.
You know who I am, but you don't know why.
All right.
I'm here.
You can continue. I'm done hijacking your podcast.
No, because now I'm quoting Scott Hall. So shut up.
The best there is.
That's not Scott Hall.
Yeah, it is.
But anyway.
That's everyone's quote.
I don't know. Scott Hall, like in the NWO, has been coming up a lot lately in my life. Like me and Justin were talking about them and quoting Nash and Hall, and I was reading about the NWO today for whatever reason. I don't even know why, because I saw the NWO from beginning to end. So it's not like I need to read anything about them. I guess I was just reliving memories. But when I wasn't reliving NWO memories, I started playing that new Donkey Kong Tropical Freeze.
That looks amazing.
It's a fun game. A review will be coming for that, hopefully in the next few days, but who knows.
You got Donkey Kong.
I started playing Thief.
I don't really know anything about that.
You know what? I got a little bit of beef.
Throw your beef down.
I'm not wasting my beef. I'm gonna fry.
All right,
it
eat your beef and then.
Jesus, man, you're trying to piss off the vegetarians. Like, it's bad enough that they'd be mad that we're eating meat. They'd be even madder if we're wasting it.
No, I'm throwing that at them.
We're a vegan friendly podcast.
Yo, you want to get a vegan burger later?
A vegan burger?
Yeah.
What, we're gonna eat vegans?
Yeah.
We're gonna kill them? All right, cool.
It only says I can't eat animals. Some people don't think humans are animals. I'm gonna eat humans.
I'm gonna eat humans.
That may be. I hope the FBI ain't listening to us. Like
yes,
live.
The FBI. They should plan it.
They hacked your camera.
I knew they were up to something. So, what was I talking about? Thief. I read a couple reviews. Like, I'm not real far into Thief, considering I'm playing like 2 other games at the same time. Yeah. But I feel like critics are kind of viewing the game the wrong way. Like, a lot of them, they focus on, like, I saw a couple reviews where they're like, when you get into a fight in Thief, you're kind of a wimp. So forget about, like, taking on one dude is doable, but when you take on 2, just forget about it. And they see it as a criticism. It's like, you're a thief. Like, the whole point of the game...
It's espionage, isn't it?
Yeah, it's like to not be seen. So it's like, you're not really... Like, it's not Dishonored. It gets compared to Dishonored a lot, and I'll probably end up doing the same thing in my review when I write it. Because, honestly, I did think Dishonored a little bit while I started playing it. But in Dishonored... You know, you have, like, magical abilities.
Yeah, isn't it a Bethesda game?
Yeah. Like, you can summon rats that, like, eat the people and stuff, which is badass. I love Dishonored. I ain't shit talking Dishonored, just for the record.
Skyrim, but it's cool.
It's a great game. Like, I'd rather play that than Skyrim, actually. But they're 2 different games. Like, you know, one's a game where you can kind of... Well, I guess you can stealth in Skyrim, too, but... They're different.
You're crouching with your shield.
Yeah.
All your armor is, like clunking and clanging.
It's glowing and it's magical.
As you're screaming, like, they can hear us!
Fusoya! But stealth.
I don't think you did that right. Isn't it Fus...
I don't even know.
Yeah.
I don't even know.
I don't know.
And here's the thing, I don't even care.
I've, like, played it for 10 minutes.
But, anyway, so they criticize for that. And they're criticizing, like, some other things that don't really seem to matter. To me, Thief should be reviewed mostly as just a stealth game. Like, if the stealth works, it should get a high rating. Now, it's not without its... Like, even in the few hours I've played it, I have noticed that while there are a couple ways to get to most of your objectives and whatnot, they don't really allow you the kind of freedom that they should. Like, to go wherever you want, do what you want to do.
Yeah.
Like, because you can only climb up certain things and whatnot. So, I don't think I'm going to end up loving the game, but... I think critics shouldn't focus on the fact that you're not a good fighter in it. Because the whole point of Thief, you're not supposed to fight.
You're like a scrawnier dude, aren't you, too?
Yeah, you're pretty scrawny. You're just... Like, the whole point of the game is to sneak around and steal
Don't they have, like, swords?
Well, I mean, you got, like, a weapon and stuff. And you can dodge. It's just... It's like I've said, not on the podcast, but it's like reviewing a game like Call of Duty. I'll come back to Call of Duty just because it's popular. When you review Call of Duty, you should really focus more on the multiplayer aspects. I mean, they do put
Ghosts had an amazing story.
They do put a campaign in, and even though I'm not really a fan, I'll admit that I found Modern Warfare 2's campaign to be short but pretty sweet. But it's not really about the campaign. It's like when I reviewed Killzone. I said in my review, the story may not be real, or the campaign may not be that exciting, although it was solid. It was a good time. Exciting. It was, the Killzone You were talking Killzone still,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, and Hellghasts or whatever they're called.
Oh,
Sweet.
I love the Killzone universe. Don't get me wrong. The campaign was fun, but it wasn't anything real, like, incredibly mind-blowing. But I said in my review, Killzone is a multiplayer shooter to me. So most of my review is going to be, like, the multiplayer is more important. So if the multiplayer is really good, it'll get a higher rating. And that's how I'm kind of, like, that's what I kind of feel about Thief. It's like, if the stealth works, it should get a higher rating. The stealth doesn't work as well as it should, but it's still a pretty fun game so far.
One of the critiques was like the level design was like dark and like I forget what he said, but
Are you still talking KZ?
Thief, and I'm like face palming because I'm like, what is it? Isn't it set in like either like a British occupied like U.S. like town or like a European town where like that was the actual city design? It was like clunky, like darker, like brick. There were like a lot of bricks.
It's like dark alleys.
Like essentially like a lot of like French areas back in like the 1700s, and like his critique of that, I'm like, but that's what the place is like.
Somebody actually like criticized the game for being dark and like.
You're a thief.
The game. I don't know if people realize this, but the game's called Thief.
And like it kind of goes back to one of those like English teacher, like the curtains are blue. Isn't most of the game like just like night or dark?
Yeah.
It probably adds kind of that like author type. It's purposely dark to bring like show that it's a dark game. You're a thief. Like, could you imagine running around in the day in that?
Because a thief. I mean, maybe you run around in the day at some point, because I hear it's about a 20-hour game or something. I don't know. That's what I read in some reviews. Like, maybe you end up running around in the daytime at some point. I don't know. But it's Thief. It's dark. Why would a thief go out in the day? That's like Batman going out in the day. Well, I mean, I guess he technically did in Dark Knight Rises.
There's a difference between that and.
But they did a good job in that movie of kind of showing Batman. It doesn't work really to have Batman in the light. Like, he's not supposed to be out there. But they did a good job of handling that. But it's like Thief. Like, why would he be sneaking around during the day? That's stupid. He's a master thief. Like, he's practically a legend. And I'm not even like a thief. I guess I should have said this to begin with. I'm not a thief fanatic. Like, I only played the first one for a very, very short time. So I'm not coming into this expecting much. I was only expecting a stealth game. And so far I'm getting that. And so far it's a fun game. Is it going to be a 9 out of 10? No, not unless it really kicks it up a notch. Oh, not only is it a game about a thief, it has like supernatural elements. So there's like ghost elements. So of course it's going to be dark. Like
again, it brings back the fact that it's about a thief, generally frowned upon, looked into like a darker character. So it just adds to the whole atmosphere and mood. I just think it would be ridiculous if it wasn't like really dark. Yeah.
It's not a perfect game, and I can see that even now.
But are there actually many games that are actually dubbed perfect?
Well,
or close to.
Here, there's an argument.
I guess that's a personalized thing.
That really comes down to what kind of person you are. Like some people kind of refuse to give many 10 out of 10s because, I mean, this could be one of the reasons, because they don't really deem any games as perfect, so they're a little lighter on 10 out of 10s. I have no problem giving a 10 out of 10. I mean, I'll give more 9.5s. I really don't have a problem giving 9.5s, but I have no issue with giving 10s out of 10s, especially for games. Because I look at 10 out of 10 not so much as a perfect score, because nothing is perfect. There's no game or movie or book or anything that's legitimately perfect. So I don't view it as that way. I just view if something's a 10 out of 10, that means it is one of my favorite games of all time.
It's like Halo 3 is one of my favorites, but I think that's probably in the maybe even a number 2 in my top games.
Yeah.
And that's only really because of the story, because I can say it's not a 10 because the multiplayer has some major problems with it.
Yeah.
I can list off a few. Their servers were kind of crap. And the fact that I don't know what they were thinking with their rank up system. I don't know if you remember how bad Halo 3's was, but it's like you really only rank up if you win, and if you're stuck with a team always that loses, they penalize you hard. Like I think I went from a really high rank to really low, and I barely did any. And I just thought I just don't think I can rate any games I thought were 10.
Oh really? See, I'm the opposite.
Maybe Halo 3 is like a 9.5, and Final Fantasy 10 is no, Final Fantasy 10 could be a 10. Final Fantasy 10 could be a 10.
I don't know. Last year, I'm trying to think back of what I would have rated things. See, it's kind of weird, because some games I feel could be a 10, but I rate them 9.5, and then I think I should have rated 10. I don't think I rated a game 10 out of 10 last year, technically. Although, when I think about it, next time I do, my top, 200 video games or whatever, games like The Last of Us will get on there. Animal Crossing and New Leaf will get on there. Those are two games that I could have classified as 10 out of 10. But I think I rolled on a 9.5. But, then the year before, I think I classified... Was that the year Lollipop Chainsaw was released? I think. I gave that a 10 out of 10, which nobody in their right mind would agree with. But I love that game. That's because... What do you want to say something?
No, I'm just waiting for you to get done. I'm just symbolizing that I need to talk after you're done.
Okay, talk.
Alright, I'm going to spring something on you. Give me your top 5 games. Don't even hesitate. Just get,
You want to throw down on the list.
That's actually you want me to throw it down first?
That's actually something I wanted to bring into the podcast, throw top 5 lists at each other. I can do this.
Do you want me to go first, so I don't forget them?
Yeah, go ahead.
Alright, I don't know if I can put them in an exact order. I'll try. Alright, so number 1. You know what? It's hard because I want to put Perfect Dark in there, but at the same time, I can actually barely go back and play the game because I've played it. Probably it's that game I've put the most hours into, and I can't find myself going back into this multiplayer.
But that's not because that's not really the game's
No,
fault.
that's mine.
That happens. There's games I love, and I won't say any of them now because it might ruin. But there are games that are my absolute favorites that I will not go back and play because, especially the old SNES games and stuff that I love. Because back in the day, you didn't have this endless supply and the access to games. Now, there's PC games. You can download them, so you have games. Well, back in the day, first of all, I was a kid, so I couldn't buy games. So I'd rent, and what would I do? I'd rent the same game over and over.
Yeah.
So there's games that I love, that I adore, or even the few games that I've owned. Since I couldn't buy games all the time, I'd replay the same games. I can't go back and play them anymore because I've played them to death, and that's not a bad thing. Because at some point you're just I love this game. I spent a ridiculous amount of hours in, but I just don't want to play it anymore because I want to move on to a new experience. There's nothing wrong with that.
You know what, I'm going to throw down. This one's hard. I think Perfect Dark in this probably would make number 6. I don't know. I don't even know if I want to put it. I don't think it deserves. I think it deserves higher than a list. I think it's 1. I'll put it 1. But I don't know, it's more like a god of gaming to me. It's not. It doesn't deserve to be with the mortals. But for the other 5, maybe I will put Halo 3 there, I think. But then it would go something like Ratchet and Clank 3. It's hard to choose which Ratchet and Clank. I don't want to sound because everyone just says 3, because I guess really 3 was the most
innovative. Which one is 3?
Up your arsenal.
See,
it did the most.
That's the one that I think I watched more. I can't. It sucks. I can't call myself a Ratchet and Clank fan because I've never technically. I don't think I've technically played one. Or no, I have, but not very long. But I like what I've played.
You can't really go by the judgment of the first one since they decided they kind of changed up the formula. The humor was always the same, and I mean,
I like what I've seen and the little I've played. But anyway,
Halo's harder to choose, but I think I always went to 3 just because I thought 3 had the best soundtrack. Because there were some crappy ones from Halo 1 and 2. They randomly had some weird techno music that they decide to like put in levels that never to me fit a giant like religious cult that want to destroy humans. But whatever. Halo 3, then Ratchet and Clank. I'll put Star Wars Battlefront 2 because Battlefront 1 had better maps, but the modding for 2 was so much better, and that's not even the game. I'm just saying the modding was good, but the music was better, and they added like that. I don't know how much you played at Battlefront 2.
I played Battlefront 2 quite a bit.
They added like the Galactic Conquest, which was so fun. I don't know if it was just clones versus droids, but that was so fun to just conquer the universe.
I conquer the universe on the daily.
Yeah, it's basically
it's
your
really
life.
nothing to me. The game is based on my life.
I'm actually gonna put Catherine on there. Because
Really?
I actually really love that game.
Catherine makes... I keep saying top 200 because every, 2 years I always do a list. But, Catherine makes, my top 200, but it doesn't make my top 10. It probably doesn't even make my top 50, I don't think, but I'm not really sure. But yeah, go on.
And then there's Final Fantasy X. I don't know where to stick that. I don't know if to stick it higher. I guess I probably would exchange it. I don't know. That list is hard because Final Fantasy X probably doesn't deserve 5. It probably deserves 2 or 1. I don't know. Kind of forgot about the placement of that one. But yeah, those are my top. I mean, there's other games I loved. There was Kingdom Hearts. I just feel like Square Enix did much better with Final Fantasy. It's because Kingdom Hearts is their side game that really is just Final Fantasy with Disney.
So you want me to throw down now?
Yeah.
So do I?
Dang! I forgot Sonic Adventure 2. Nah, it's not really worth the top 5.
Do I include only one game from a series?
No, you can include
no, but I mean okay. Here's what I'm trying to say. If I include every game in a series that I really like, my top 5 is literally Metal Gear Solid 1, 2, 3, 4.
Perfect Dark.
And so there's 4 right there. It's 4 spots you can stop. And I don't know if I ever said this, but I tried playing Peace Walker on the PSP. And there is such a good game in there, but the PSP controls, I just can't do it. It was the first Metal Gear game that I've ever walked away from without beating it, that I started. I mean, I've never really played a handheld Metal Gear because I never had a PSP till I borrowed one.
Did you play the Game Boy Metal? So you didn't play the Game Boy one?
The Game Boy one.
It was a Game Boy Color one.
I can't remember but I played the Nintendo one or 2 of them, but yeah, the main console Solid series are my favorite games of all time. So, but if I have to represent the series, which is what I always do, because I don't want my top 4 to be the same series. That's just no fun. But I'm such a fanboy of Metal Gear, and I'm unashamed of it. It's yes, I love Metal Gear. I love all the game's flaws and all. I love them. I sit down when a new Metal Gear comes out, and that's all I want to do until I beat it, is just play Metal Gear. But I'll represent, obviously my number 1 is one of the Metal Gears. I usually go with 4, but I think 3 has a valid case for being the funnest.
What was 2 called?
But also Sons of Liberty. Yeah. But Metal Gear Solid 1, the only reason Metal Gear Solid 1 I don't represent the series with that one, is because the gameplay hasn't held up. Because it was a PS1 game. So some of the sneaking and the shooting is a little outdated. It's not the game's fault. It was wonderful when it came out. But the story in that is probably the best of the 4.
For cover art, the second game was the coolest.
Yeah, like, I love them all. Like, I even love Metal Gear Solid 2. I'm just a fanboy, but I usually represent it with 4, just because, I don't know, some people wouldn't because they went a little story-heavy in that one, but, which I can see, but I love the story so much that I could literally just sit there and watch it, like, I don't give a shit.
I wish I would have got heavy into it, or I would have, like, remembered all the times you played it. Because one of my favorite things about that series is I think the art is phenomenal.
Everything's phenomenal.
Like, even seeing some, like, the little art pieces they did, like, for concepts, I'm like, this has, like, some of the best art I've seen in a game. Like, I remember, I think it was the opening of the second game. What was the one where he's, like, on a bridge?
It's 2.
Yeah, that whole scene to me, now maybe it's just because the HD, like, remake, but I'm like, that was, like, one of the coolest scenes, and that just looked so nice, and...
Man, I don't want to get all up on Metal Gear because I'll spend so much time.
It's okay. We all love Metal Gear.
It does everything. Yeah, okay. The story's a little bit complicated, and Kojima has actually, I don't know if it was this week or last week, he actually admitted that part of the reason why the story is so confusing and there might be continuity errors is the fact that he never really fleshed out the whole story. He kind of wrote it as he went. Which I kind of figured anyway, but with that said, he does a good job of making a compelling story. But yes, there are inconsistencies, yada yada yada, who cares? But the game has created such a wonderful universe of characters, and like there's so many memorable scenes in every one of them. Like, it's fucking fantastic.
Do you want to know, like, a fun fact?
Yes.
Konami's the one that, like, releases...
Yeah.
Do you know they also make Yu-Gi-Oh cards? They're like the distributor. Yeah, no, I was like, these people that have distributed Metal Gear also distribute Yu-Gi-Oh cards. Now all they need is a crossover. But like, I don't think I remember any of the songs. Wasn't the music in that game good?
What, any of them?
Yeah,
yeah, they have good soundtracks.
Like I do remember the one song from. I remember too. There was the one they played in Brawl. And there was the I think it was called the Love Theme in the opening of 4, which I just love that song.
Well, yeah, because when you hear the Love Theme and like you think of the opening of 4, which is literally movie quality. I'm not talking the visuals, because obviously movies they have better CGI, but I mean it feels like a movie. And you want to know why? And I don't know. I wonder if we talked about this on another podcast. But you want to know why Metal Gear is so good at feeling like it's so good at being cinematic? It's because Kojima wants to be a movie director. Like, he literally has an eye for shots. Like, he probably... I mean, I'm glad he's in games, don't get me wrong. Because if he wasn't in games, he wouldn't have Metal Gear. But he'd probably make a better movie director. Because you can tell... As much as he loves games, you can tell, like, even from his Twitter a lot of the time, that he kind of... His heart is kind of in movies.
Yeah.
But, like, he can frame a shot. Like, lots of games have crappy video scenes. And we have talked about this, I think. Because I remember, unless I made an article.
I think we talked about this one time.
Oh, no, I made an article about it. Where, like, a lot of games have shitty cutscenes. Like, they're just boring. Like, there's no reason. I hate when you're playing a game and it throws a cutscene at you and you wonder, why couldn't I be playing this part?
There's also that problem. I still think I hate it when half the cutscene is CGI, then the rest they decide to just do it the game itself. And I'm like, what was the point of... I'm like, did you get that sloppy that I'm like, Final Fantasy X did that a lot, and it always bugged me. I'm like, Final Fantasy X had some of the nicest looking cutscenes and like, what was it, 2001 game?
Yeah.
And I'm like, it's some of the nicest, but then they decided to just go back to, like, block hands and mouths, like...
like we just totally talked about this before, I think.
Like, but I've seen Metal Gear ones. Like, Metal Gear hit, like, I think 4 had an opening where it was just a bunch of random commercials and stuff.
Ah, yeah.
And I didn't understand what was going on, but like, these look so nice.
I was like, when I turned that on, and I was like, what is going on? It's awesome. But, yeah, anyway, Metal Gear has a shit ton.
It's awesome.
It has a gazillion memorable scenes.
I can't even say I'm like a fan because I don't play them, but I guess I'm a fan because I've seen them basically all.
Well, when Metal Gear Solid 5 comes out, you should watch me.
Yeah.
Because you know I'm getting
repping that.
You
It's
know
one
I'm
of the
getting
best
Phantom
series.
Pain and Ground Zeroes.
In the holy book of games, there'll be Metal Gear at the top, followed by Halo, Ratchet and Clank.
And Super Dodgeball.
I guess Final Fantasy has to go there pretty far up.
I never finished my top 5.
Yeah, it's okay.
Well, I gotta
Final
do
Fantasy
it.
7.
We're at about we're at about close to an hour and 10 minutes now, which is funny because we really didn't have like anything to talk about. We have a couple ideas that we haven't even touched on, but anyway, this has been a more game heavy one, I think. But top 5. So I'm gonna represent number 1 with Metal Gear Solid 4, but 3. Any of them could have got there. They all have their benefits.
4 is the one with Snake, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I just like playing as Solid Snake more than I like playing as well, he's not Big Boss in Metal Gear Solid 3 yet. He's Naked Snake. But and Raiden, I never hated Raiden like everyone else seemed to.
Is he the ninja dude?
Well, he wasn't really a ninja when you played as him in Metal Gear Solid 2.
Yeah.
People didn't like it because everyone expected to play as Snake, but I always defended that game because the game almost like made Snake look more badass when you couldn't play as him.
Yeah.
Because he would kind of show up and help you, and it pissed off people, and I understand, but I don't really. It was different. Whatever. It's not my favorite in the series, but I really do like Sons of Liberty. But anyway,
I think.
Okay, so Metal Gear, I'm going to get past number 1 finally. Metal Gear's number 1. Number 2, every time I do this list, I have no problem making 1 or 2. Because 1's always Metal Gear, and 2 is always Parasite Eve. Because in my heart of hearts, I am an RPG guy. More specifically, a JRPG guy.
I agree with you.
Like, Square, when they were Squaresoft, although I guess they made great games with Square Enix, but like the days of Squaresoft, like those Final Fantasies, that's my period where I grew as a gamer. So I'm a JRPG, or at least an RPG fan in my heart. I did get out of RPGs for a few years, but now I've gotten back into them again because there's no genre that's better than a well-made RPG. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, the games that usually wow me the most are, like, the really good RPGs. Like, the Xenoblade Chronicles wow. Like, The World Ends With You. That's not to say other genres don't, because The Last of Us wowed me.
You could say that about
Crossing
Kingdom Hearts 2,
wowed
but
me.
you haven't played that.
Like, Journey wowed me, but just RPGs, man.
Shadow of the Colossus.
Word. So-
Is that even a Japanese RPG?
No, but I thought we were off Japanese RPGs.
Yeah.
Because I started talking about...
The Jeopardy game.
I started talking about, like, Last of Us and shit. So, Parasite Eve is my favorite RPG of all time. And if Metal Gear didn't exist, it'd be my favorite game. And it has been like that pretty much since I played it. I love Parasite Eve. Like I can go back and play it now, like if I really wanted to.
So that's that creepy one.
Yeah, it's a creepy one where the mitochondria goes nuts. Like, there's one thing I really like about it. Like, you do ultimately end up trying to save the world, like most RPGs. But most of them were like, okay, so I'm this evil guy, and I'm trying to destroy the world. Well, this one has to do with mitochondria basically going crazy and trying to create the ultimate being. So it's like pseudoscience.
Wait, when you say mitochondria, do you mean the powerhouse of the cell?
Yes.
So the thing that can't think tries to make a...
Yeah.
What the
It
frick?
becomes mitochondria Eve.
Dang.
And it's like, it's a game based off science, but obviously it takes liberties to... But
I hope it's not based off science.
outside of that, like, I'm not a scientist, so I don't know exactly how all the science
That's
works.
Bill Nye.
But, we'll get... Bill Nye, yo.
Or Ken Ham.
We'll just get Bill Nye to explain. But, like, I even, like, own the Parasite Eve book, although the book is different than the game, obviously. And I've seen the Parasite Eve movie, and the movie's based off the book, so it's different than the game. The game, I guess, is, like, a sequel to it. But, yeah, like, Parasite Eve, will be my favorite RPG probably for the rest of my life. I mean, maybe it will. Maybe something will come and knock it off. But Parasite Eve has been my favorite RPG since, what,
96?
I don't know when it came out. But, and then, so those two are a given. It's when I start, after that is when I start having problems. But I think I gotta go with my heart. See, because there's games that should make it on, like Unearth Defense Force should be on there because they're just plain fun. Lollipop Chainsaw, but
Catherine.
I gotta go with the games that pretty much brought me to the dance.
Dang, you went to a dance
I've
because
gone
of
to
them?
so many dances with games.
Did you dress up like Cloud there?
Yeah.
Yeah, you just...
Well, it's funny you mentioned Cloud because as overrated as some people would say it is, Final Fantasy. Okay, my list. I don't know about the order, but the rest of my list, the three is Chrono Trigger, Final Fantasy VI, and Final Fantasy VII.
I'm kind of surprised about 7. I felt like 7. It may not. I thought it would have beat Parasite because that's like the game I always knew you like talked heavily about.
No, I love Parasite Eve. It's just more people want to talk about Final Fantasy VII, so and I have no problem. Some people think it's weird. Final Fantasy VII has gotten to the point where it's so it's so overrated that it's almost underrated. It's weird because it's like I don't know. People don't give it the credit, and I know that line didn't really make sense, but people don't really give it the credit it deserves now.
Yeah, no, I heard someone say it's like
it's
not my favorite because it's overrated. And I'm like,
because they think it's so overrated that the game doesn't. Like, that's what I mean. Like, it's so overrated that no one gives it a fair shake. That if they give it a fair shake, they'd realize that, no, it is as good as it's meant to be. And this is not coming from a guy that started playing Final Fantasy because of Final Fantasy VII. I was with Final Fantasy since the first one. I mean, I was young, so I didn't really know what I was doing. I would just fight around, basically, in Final Fantasy 1. But, like, I've been there, you know... I played Final Fantasy 2/4 to death, you know?
Yeah.
And obviously we didn't have the real 2 and 3 because they didn't bring them
Isn't
over.
6 the mech one?
What?
Wait, which one's the one where you like started on a mech or something?
Yeah, 6, but it was 3 in North America. And then, of course, I played 3/6 to death, and that's on my list because... I flip-flop, because some days I feel like FF7 is the best, some days I feel like FF6 is the best. FF6 is the one I've played the most.
Funny about FF6, I don't know if I said it on the podcast, but someone went back, changed all the textures and dialogue, and made it about My Little Pony. Like and I'm like, you know, I give them props, I'm like, I would never go back and take all this time, but I have that downloaded, I'm like...
yeah, so... Those are my... I guess those are... And, oh yeah, and then of course Chrono Trigger is just... Chrono Trigger was an RPG that was ahead of its time and still remains an amazing... Just an amazing...
It's avant-garde.
It's wonderful, because back in the day, the idea of, like, say you get into a random encounter, which you always did in JRPGs... Well, it didn't go to a different screen.
Yeah.
Like most of them did. Even RPGs these days, like Bravely Default, it goes to the fight screen.
Final Fantasy 13 did, too.
Yeah, like Chrono Trigger, you literally just pull out your weapons
so
right there.
So you actually saw the enemies on the screen?
Yeah, like, well, sometimes you wouldn't see them because you step on a hot spot, and then they would jump out at you. But there's a lot of enemies that you could see just kind of walking around.
So that would let you avoid them if you wanted.
Yeah, you could avoid a lot of them. I don't know if you could avoid all of them that you wanted, but yeah, there were spots where you couldn't see an enemy, so you'd walk on and you'd always get in a fight. But you pulled out your weapons right there.
Yeah.
Like right on the spot. Like it didn't go to a different screen. And for years, games didn't do that. And games are more advanced now, so it's not a big deal to be able to do that. And some do. But back then, like, that was crazy. And a game with, like, I can't remember how many endings it had.
Yeah.
It had, like, something like 10 endings or something. Like, it did so many things. It was nuts. Like, I've spent so much time in my life playing Chrono Trigger, but it's a perfect example of the type of game, or a game that I don't want to play anymore. Because I spent most of my childhood playing it. You know what I mean? Same with FF6. Like, I bought it for, like, I bought the PS1 version because the Super Nintendo versions were so expensive back when I bought the PS1 version.
Yeah.
Like, this was before these games started showing up on, like, well, this was before the Wii and, like, the Virtual Console and stuff happened. So you really didn't have many ways to get a hold of the game. So I was like, oh, sweet, the PS1 version. I haven't even played it. Like, I was so pumped to buy it, but I haven't even played it because I think, I've played this game to death. But I have it, right? And that's what makes me happy. Like, if someday I want to sit down and play Final Fantasy VI, I can do it. I probably won't. I bought Earthbound. Well, technically Chris bought it for me, but I was considering buying it. I haven't even played it. I was so happy to have it on the Virtual Console, but then I haven't even played it. Super Metroid, now mind you, I bought it for like 30 cents. I played it for 15 minutes. And it's one of the greatest games of all time, but again, I spent so much of my childhood playing it that I just don't want to.
Yeah.
I urge everyone to play it, though, because it was the shit. But yeah.
That Final Fantasy VII was pretty good. I barely played it, but like thinking back now, I feel like Final Fantasy 13 took a lot from other games. In itself, it felt like a lot like 10, and they had that sphere grid type thing. And I know what they were trying to capture was Final Fantasy X, but at the same time, the lead character was trying to capture
7.
And some of like the beginning of it felt a lot like the beginning of 7 when I played, because I played through at least to like the first boss. And like I feel like 13 played almost exactly like that. And like you're saying, where in like Chrono Trigger you'd like see the enemies, you'd encounter a different screen, but if you ever saw it, you'd see all the enemies on the screen, and you could walk past them. But like if it say like the ones I remember were like these robotic dog things, the minute they saw you, they would charge across to like come into battle with you, and I kind of liked that actually. Kind of sucked when I was like, I'm low on health, gotta go get it, and then runs after me. But
you know, now that I think about it, even Parasite Eve, you just pull out your gun right in the spot. So apparently my favorite RPGs are the ones that they just pull their weapons out. Pull it out, just
and I feel like
pull it out and slap someone in the face with it.
13 should have been on my list because I feel like it took a lot from other Final Fantasies. It kind of gets a lot of crap though. I see some. I'm like, there's nothing wrong with it.
It got a lot of love too.
It was a beautiful game. Like even on a standard definition TV, I thought it probably looked like one of the greatest games I've seen.
I couldn't bring myself to play it, so it doesn't rank on my list.
Its
but
story is a little bit confusing, and you kind of have to consult like Wiki, or you have to like consult something else to understand the story completely. But it has a nice in-depth story. It has the classic Final Fantasy love at some point. Now the only problem it has is that for some reason Nobuo did not work in any of the music, so you didn't have the Final Fantasy battle music in it. But you had these sweet sounding songs that were like a completely different feel.
Yeah.
That were nice, but they weren't Final Fantasy. And I can't hate on it because whoever made them did really good. Just kind of depressing when you win a battle and you didn't hear da 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 da, and instead you heard like some random like
a winner is you
song. I think.
Love or hate Final Fantasies, you gotta give them props because they generally try something a little different with each one.
Now there's everyone who. There's the one I always see the debate between 7 and 10. That's what I see. I see people going like whenever I see Final Fantasy, it's like I'm 10's my favorite, 7's my favorite. But then I always come across the dudes that are like hate everything after 10. There's stupid futuristic feel. I'm like Final Fantasy 10 had certain parts that were like sci-fi like medieval. I'm like other Final Fantasy have done that. I don't see what's the problem with it. Like it's kind of cool, and you clash those two like universes into a weird mix. But they don't seem to like futuristic. I'm like, you fight a giant flying whale in 10. You can't tell me that.
This just reminded me. You'll be happy to know I saw like a Q&A lately with AJ Lee, in case
the diva.
The diva from WWE.
They're not called the WWF. The pandas will be all over you.
I already got pandas on the daily. But, yeah, she recently said in a Q&A, her favorite games are still Final Fantasy X and Metal Gear Solid. So basically what I'm trying to say is she is a perfect girl for us.
Yep.
So we just gotta beat up CM Punk and then we can share her. Whatever. I'll
Won't
take
take much. He cowered away from the WWE. Oh, shots fired.
Oh, shots fired. Retaliate, CM Punk. We'll be waiting.
I challenge you, CM Punk. One-on-one death match. Call of Duty Modern Warfare 3. One in the chamber. We got knives. We got no radar. I'll take you out.
We're gonna
challenged him.
With that said,
you better accept it.
You better accept it because I know where you.
I know where Chicago is.
Yeah, I can't even say I know where you work.
I will go to every building and every house until I find you, and I will play Modern Warfare 3 with you.
We probably should peace out on this here in a minute because we're nearing.
Who wants more lists? Top 20 movies.
Well, you know what? I like that you threw out a list. So feel free, any podcast, to put a person on the spot with a list.
Top
but
20.
I did want to say something to kind of be our closing topic. You ready?
Yep.
Flappy Birds is bullshit. Shots fired.
And there's so many
the game's
remakes.
taken down.
There's Flappy Pants. There's
Farty Bird.
There's
a Follow Boy.
There's like
coming.
Like the Sinky Bird or something where you or Splashy Bird. There's the Doge one. The Flappy Doge. There's the Flappy Pony. There's everything.
But here's why I mention it. I know it's old news. Because everyone and their grandmother, even people who don't really even play many games, I see on Facebook are like, oh my god, Flappy Bird is so addictive. Not so much now, but...
I kind of get angry after one turn. I'm like, this is pretty boring.
I'm like, here's what I'm like. I'm a serious gamer, man. No, but like, it's not a good game. It's just... Okay, first of all, the in-game advertisements drive me up the wall.
It annoys me that he gets paid for it, and I don't know if Nintendo came in, but you notice all the textures are just from Nintendo games.
Oh yeah,
the bird thing
everyone...
was like a fish in the game where they stuck wings.
I don't know, and then obviously the pipes.
Yeah, the pipes, and and the city. I don't know. It kind of reminded me of like a Mega Man like background. Yeah. Whereas I don't know if Nintendo even cares because they probably don't see him as... They seem pretty cool and they don't see him as a threat. You know?
Well, you know what though? Nintendo, if they feel that their intellectual property is not jeopardized because Flappy Bird is nothing to Nintendo. But I mean, if they feel that someone's infringing on their shit, they'll go to war. Like Nintendo's still a company. But yeah, you want to say something?
Yeah. It's actually funny. I was talking with someone, and they're like, Nintendo is one of the worst companies for, like, game videos. And I'm like, why? They're like, they talk something about the whole thing, everyone taking things down. I'm like, that wasn't them who initiated. That was YouTube's little thing that started flagging randomly. And it's not even like, I told them, like, Nintendo didn't do anything while, like, now I don't know, I forget which companies that did it, but, like, I think at one point Bethesda was just taking videos down or something, or Sony was. And I'm like, Nintendo didn't take the videos down. They just turned monetization off. They're still allowing you to have fun. They're just telling you, don't try to make money off our stuff since it's our product.
Which, you know, you can understand.
But they're like, no, that's stupid of them. I'm like, no, it's their product. At least they're not taking your whole video down. Like,
agree or disagree. That's what copyrights and shit are for.
It's like, they realize you put a lot of work into your videos. They're not going to go, oh, you take it down. I mean, if you're going to tell them, oh, you're such a stupid company, maybe let us one. Then I'm like, well, might as well take them all down.
Every company has their flaws. Nintendo's not perfect. Sony's not perfect. Microsoft definitely isn't perfect. Oh, shots fired.
Dang, well, I could say at least they didn't get hacked during, like, that, like, tear, like, frig, when they're like...
But anyway, listen, I wanted to talk about Flappy Birds.
Flappy Birds is amazing.
The in-game advertisements are terrible. First of all, that just pisses me off.
Aren't they fashion advertisements?
There's all kinds. I saw a lot of, like, this game with 5 stars or something.
I hate that, because you'll accidentally click on it and like, oh.
Well, my phone isn't the greatest, and it actually kind of slows down my phone when they come up sometimes. So it's like, yeah, great. But the other thing that gets me about Flappy Birds, are you playing Flappy Birds?
Yeah, I was like looking at like the ads, but I have like one that doesn't have, it's like a free one, doesn't have any ads. It was a ripoff that didn't actually want to throw ads at you.
But yesterday I sat down and I actually played Flappy Birds for the first time. Because I always avoid it because, I mean, at first it seemed intriguing because they were like, Dark Souls. It was like the Dark Souls of, I'm like,
what?
Because it's difficult, right? The only difference is Dark Souls. Well, I've only ever played
game.
I've only played Demon Souls. So, but you know, Dark Souls is probably a better version. But yeah, the difference is Dark Souls is a well-designed
story, music,
great game. Like
plot.
Like it's literally just a good game. Flappy Birds. I mean, don't get me wrong. They're going for two different things because Flappy Birds is a casual game that when you're sitting there ignoring people, you play Flappy Birds. Like when you're talking, I should just sit here and play Flappy Birds. So I sat down because I was just sitting there and I'm like, I'm gonna try because it's on my phone because I downloaded it like weeks ago or whatever. And I was playing it, and it's not a bad game in terms of the gameplay, but it is like a million other games on the App Store. There are so many games that you just tap the screen and go, like, there's so many games like that. Why did Flappy Birds
there's so many better ones. Has anyone ever heard of Dead Trigger? That's such a fun game.
Like, there's a million games like that on the App Store, and I can't fathom why Flappy Bird or whatever, was the one to catch on. Like,
there's a version I know you'll like. It's on the PC. It's where you control two warp pipes, and you just keep closing them, and as they come through, you just squish them, and they die. And you're like, there's also another version that is slightly cool for the PC that actually shows you everyone's death as they go past you. So you're just going, and you can see where everyone died, and it's kind of cool, actually.
That's actually like Demon Souls, because in Demon Souls, you like click on the ghost or whatever, and you actually see how they die. Which I always thought was one of the coolest multiplayer things I've ever seen in a game because it was different. It was like, sweet, I can see how these people die, and that's kind of how the multiplayer works. Like, yeah, this is your warning. This is how we're helping you. There's a boulder here.
Mario Sides did that because you see like the music.
Yeah, Mario had that thing where you replay a level and you can see. That kind of stuff is cool.
It always looks funny when like you're supposed to be riding something, you just see this me floating past you. Yo.
But yeah, that's kind of just, I wanted to talk about Flappy Bird a little bit.
Screw that game.
I think I keep saying Flappy Birds.
Yeah.
But I mean,
it's okay,
Flappy
that one
Bird.
version I think is called Flappy Birds, the one where you just kill them.
Oh. Well, whatever. Flappy Bird, Flappy Wong, Flappy whatever. I don't even give a
We don't care. We don't like it.
We're making on the
Flappy Pod.
Gamely. This is
Flappy Jacob.
This is a whole podcast dedicated to Flappy Bird.
It was like this conversation my friend was having. He said it wrong, so he's like, yo, me and my dad were talking about my Flappy Bird. I'm like, never say that again.
Meanwhile, I'd be like, I am intrigued by this conversation.
Yo, can you continue with your Flappy Bird?
Can you post diagrams? But yeah, you got anything you need to say, because we're pretty much at 1:30.
Who wants a Sonic conversation?
Who wants? Yeah. No, this has been fun.
See ya.
I never get bored of you being like, see ya, because you're so quick to get rid of everyone.
Yeah, I don't even love them anymore.
The shitty thing is, I know it's coming every week now. Like, I know you're always going to be like, see ya.
One of these times I'm not going to.
Like, I know it's coming, but I still find
don't you have something to say? Nah.
Nah, see ya. Well, this time we tried to end the podcast before it even started.
We were like going for like an hour this time.
Well, so no closing statements.
I love you all.
Well, now you love them again.
I hope in these times of crisis, I hope God is with all of you.
And if you don't believe in God, I hope
Samus
Aran is with you. Because if you don't believe in Samus,
I hope the Master Hand is protecting you.
Yeah. So all right. So this is the end of the podcast. Shut up. How can I do my serious outro with you being like, see ya?
This is right that time where you should just cut me off and just cue like the theme music.
All right. I'm Jacob.
I'm Tyler.
That was a mess up on my part, but then I went with it.
You have listened to the Clog Pod?
Yeah, so I'm Tyler, he's Jacob. Thank you for listening, and let the Schwartz be with you.
Thanks, Gabe. Thanks, everyone else. Yo, see ya.
He thought I was going to turn it off, so he was pulling a Nate Diaz and trying to throw in as many shoutouts as he possibly could.
And I'd like to just thank you.
See you later, monkey farts.
See ya.